Let let it snow, people. Let it snow. Alrighty. Communicated. Let me pull you people up. Let me pull the chat up so I can see what you all are saying. How we doing, everybody? How we doing? Hopefully not that different, because nothing really different changed since last night. But I know how it works. People panic. People panic. I get it. I get it. For a couple more people, probably. All right. Let's do this. So I posted my snow map last night, and you will not believe the amount of people who would love to express their opinion and let me know exactly how they're feeling. It's fun, but if you just me after your snow map is overdone, where I don't think that's gonna happen in that area, and you don't give me like any science or like, any like analysis to why you think it's not gonna happen, I mean, I can just disregard what you say right away. I don't have any reason to really hold what you're saying to be valid. So here's what it is. I told you we went over on stream why I was gonna have a few pockets of 5 to 8 inches or whatever, and I have what I have for my reasons. We talked about it on stream last night, and we're gonna go over those reasons again because it seems like some people forgot. But I don't mind doing this. I don't mind talking about the weather. I love talking about the weather. That's why I am. But so this was the map I made last night. You can see, I'm trying. So some people were questioning me having this far south. We'll go to Yelp. That was a pretty good color to use here. Questioning me having this far south. And I am too, honestly. Myself. I wish, honestly, I had bumped this like 5 miles north. Looking back, but I mean, I'm making a map for from Maryland to northern Maine. I mean, all right, then I'll unfollow that shit. Unfollow that shit. You want me to New York City? How about New York City, 12 to 20 inches? Why don't we just do that? Because New York City is going to bust regardless. It doesn't matter when everybody puts out ever. If you're expecting 0 inches, New York City gets -1 inches. That's just how it works. I have New York City in the code here too, because of the coding, not because of the two. I'm telling you, I think New York City can get some flakes on the edge of the trough, because what's going to happen is later is cold air is going to be rushing in as the system is passing through on the backside. Cold air is going to be rushing through. We're still going to be inverting these isobars. We're going to be stretching out our dynamics. In New York City, I think is going to have a shot for some flakes, and I think potentially some moderate snow for potentially 1 to 2 hours, maybe if they're lucky, and they can maybe get a little accumulation or at least just a little coating at a minimum. So that's why I left New York City in, even though I think this whole beginning of the event, New York City is not going to get really anything. And for me, it's more the end, the second part of the system, the inverted trough, is why I have New York City, and that's the same that follows here. I just think these places, you know, are going to have a shot. This could be a little bit farther west, or maybe this sits up a little bit farther east, or maybe it's more expansive than I'm picking out right now. I doubt it's more expansive, but it's just trying to I'm trying to highlight where I think this is gonna happen. You notice my last tweet I put out, um, 1.5 sweet spots is where 1.5 jackpot areas is what I have a reason for that. It's 'cause I think somewhere in Connecticut is gonna be the hardest hit spot. It seems like, models are hinting at that a little bit. It's hard to say exactly, but models just need to latch on, um, to exactly where the inverted trough is gonna set up, which always concerns me. Um, so I'm giving it some leeway, but it's not the fact that models show. It's what the consensus of models show is somewhere in Connecticut. It has the best shot. Actually, in the NAM even the NAM knows Western Connecticut and Hudson Valley setting up, which is why I wasn't even looking at a snow map. I promise when I was drawing the second right there to have what I have. I mean, you can see my thinking behind this right here. And then also we have this central to eastern Connecticut sweet spot, just above the coast, where I think temperatures are going to be sufficient enough. Especially, I think they're going to be really good. Actually, not just sufficient, but really good for snowfall accumulation. I posted a ton of samples this morning just to give you guys some reference to what I was looking at. I was trying to look at lift. I was trying to look at temperatures. I was trying to figure out exactly what kind of snow growth we would have. Multitude of different things I was looking at in those soundings, and along with looking at the models themselves, they've only strengthened my belief in this snow map. And I think the Berks are going to be elevated, so they're going to work in regardless of how much they work into um, the inversion and the isobars. I think these places are going to make out well in the Berks, and this might even extend down more. Um, who knows? Um, some of these higher elevation New York places, I can't figure out every hill and valley in New York and every other town. So I try to do best what I think could happen. Boston, I left you in the 1 to 3 because I think combined coastal enhancement on the backside, combined with whatever you see today, I think is going to get you at least an inch and a half of snow, which is why I left you in 1 to 3. Guess I would have been better off with the code of the 2 inches, but that could have been a little bit steeper. But I'm not just trying to drive 50 on the freeway the whole time, trying to drive 70, 75 at least a little bit. Not trying to get caught by the cops, but enough to put myself out there. And we have 2 to 5 also slid in. I put the 2 to 5 here for also the fact coastal enhancement. This is going to include late Monday too, potentially. I think coastal enhancement could be go on what you've already seen, and plus what's coming throughout the next day and a half or so. I guess you could say when it comes to coastal enhancement in recent years. Yeah, so I have reasons. I have reasons. I told someone last night, there's a method to my madness. I have reasons for what I'm doing, right? I'm not just putting blindly these maps out there. You guys know that are in these streams and that follow my tweets. I have very detail oriented. Precision is very important to me. I'm going through all these little details, uh, trying to figure out exactly where the most snow is going to be, where that rain snow line sets up. It's not as much as this event, obviously, but or at least in factor, given the size of the event. But I'm confident that we're going to have our inverter drops set up. It's already taking place, so there's going to be some version. It's not going to be there. It will be there somewhere already based on we look at Storm Prediction Center. Uh, I like the full sector views. You see, notice. Come on, take your time. Yeah, I want the full. You gotta zoom back out. being awfully slow with me. There we go. All right, notice, right, even more, right, a little bit on this. I'm just gonna go back to pink. Go back to pink. Uh, right, notice here we have our inversion in our isobars. Right, our isobars are being stretched. They're being stretched out, and that's how we're going to be able to stretch out our moisture, so to speak. And we're basically going to throw back uh, these dynamics in the moisture. We're going to throw back off the Atlantic inland. So it's kind of like we're backing the flow in a sense. We're we're pulling the dynamics, we're pulling the lift, we're pulling the moisture in this system, we're stretching it out, and we're gonna throw it inland with some of the moisture off the Atlantic. And temperatures are gonna be more than supportive at this time. And I think this is setting up potentially for some people to be pretty surprised. And I think that's why I have those 9+ areas, because I think I wouldn't shock me if a couple spots ended up with 9, 10 inches, so to speak, of snow. Would not shock me, and uh, I think for the most part, that's not going to happen. But a couple isolated locations, it's possible. Right? I'm not just throwing darts here. I promise you, I'm not throwing darts. I am in a sense throwing darts, but I'm not trying to hit the bullseye. Okay, I'm just trying to hit the 75. Not trying to bullseye here. I am trying to figure out the bullseye, but you get what I mean. I'm not trying to hit the center of the dartboard. Out of I have a little bit of skill, enough. When we take a look at the HRR, what it's trying to suggest. Let's take a look at some of these soundings now. Right, so this is the main event. Actually, let's look at euro, 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 euro. I don't care about snowfall. Right. Zoom out to regional. Boom, let's get it. Here we go. Boom. Notice here at 500 is Z. I mean, look, that's a strong war profile. I mean, I don't think a lot of people understand. They're just looking at P-type maps still. No matter how many times we can try to tell them, they're still going to look at P-type maps and use them as the end all be all. But this is a strong board. I mean, this is not your typical Clipper. This is not. I mean, if we go back, notice here at 500. And if you got questions too, you can drop them in. Drop them in as well. I'll get to them. But if we look here, notice it's not a typical just regular clipper. Notice there's two pieces. There's two pieces here. And if we drop this in more and slid this more out in front, we'd be talking about a whole different kind of system, a big different kind of system. So, but it's really not a clipper because we're diving this in. We have our southern wave, and we got this energy getting out ahead in front of it, and we're seeing a little bit of a stream interaction. To be honest, there is a bit of a stream interaction going on, so it's not it's not really a partial phase even to that sense, but it's a little bit of a stream interaction in a sense where it's pulling on some of that southern energy. It's kind of getting stretched out a little bit, not inverted trough stretched out. We're at 500. Remember, it's getting a little bit stretched out, and eventually it just boom, you're just being a problem. I want to move my way, so just shunts it off, takes what it can, shunts it off that southern energy, and takes what's left. So this is a very, I just this is a very good 500 millibar look for what is to be only called a clipper, and then combine that with the fact that it isn't just a clipper, and inverted trough. That's why I think people are mistaken at it, and they're seeing Clipper and thinking that this is all it's all it is, and it's not. At 500, I mean, that's kind of what I first saw. I remember, if I don't know if you remember the tweet I put out a few days ago, I was talking about it's more right. There's that southern energy. We can get it out in front. We can reserve and amplify our vork even more, which was what I was talking about. And in that way, we become a little bit less of an inverted trough, and we'd be holding back our dynamics, and we'd be bringing in our low pressure system even closer, so we can potentially get a full blown snowstorm potentially more widespread too. So that's why I was talking about that, and obviously it didn't quite evolve. It's not like I was expecting it, but I was hoping we could just get a little bit more. Um, I'm not sure how much more we got exactly, but we got enough. We got enough to work with to get a pretty decent snow event here. For some people will be disappointed. They didn't get big snowfall totals, but it is what it is. Now we take a look at the timing here. Notice, right? This is throughout the day, right? This is a few hours from now. Right, decent sounding, right? Over here, eastern New York, just south of Albany. You can see 30 degrees here minus 20 at 650 almost. No, no, about 615, just under 600 millibars in the atmosphere. We got minus 10, minus 10 at 750. That's a good spot to be. That's cold. That's good. And also notice our denture growth zone. We have solid forcing, and we have about minus one and a half omega. So, right, this is just right the 500 millibar fork profile doing its magic, right? We have good energy, good dynamics to work with already. They're just going to be fast moving and work out of the way, which is where the inverted trough part comes in with this system. Because what's going to happen is as we evolve, notice these isobars start to invert. Right, notice these isobars start to invert, and notice our precip. It lines up almost like a fire hose in a sense, and it points. And notice there's a couple areas where it's pointing at, almost like one and a half areas. But what happens is it pulls east a little bit, so it doesn't stay over New York City according to the HRR. And then now it really starts. What happens is notice the isobars, instead of just getting moved along, start going along for the ride like this and slowly moving across. And the snow slowly moves across like that to the east. What's going to happen is these isobars, as the diameters get more stretched out, what's going to happen is these isobars are going to start to turn a little bit, and it's going to basically almost pivot. The snow band will pivot band or bands. We'll see how it evolves, but it's going to pivot, and it's just going to almost snow itself out overhead. So whoever gets into this band sustained for long enough is going to get some pretty good snowfall totals. And that's why I have those 5 to 9 areas. Because if we take a look here, this is just 11 p.m. But notice we continue to play this out. I mean, it's still snowing. 3, 4, 5, 6 a.m. Still snowing over Long Island. There's a reason I had Long Island encoding for 2 inches. Reason I had them. Notice where our denser growth zone sets up. We're below 6. We have a saturated atmosphere. We have a saturated column. Low denser growth zone. We like our denser growth zone low in the atmosphere. Always like low in the atmosphere because that means we're cold. We are cold throughout the atmosphere. And if we're saturated as well, that's a really good sign. It's a really good sign that we can get really good snow growth. So in here, when I take a look at this sounding, I see, right, you see 27 at the surface clearly. But if we go to minus 20, we're minus 20 at 650, and we're minus 10 at your 750. About 750. So So if we're working with our denser growth zone that low in the atmosphere, typically it's around 550 to 650, 5 to 600. It's usually around that range, 550, 650, somewhere in that range. So if we're working our denser growth zone from 600 to 750 millibars, that means cold throughout levels of the atmosphere, throughout the lower levels of the atmosphere. We're going to get good snowflake production as long as we have the omega, the forcing, the lift that we see in our soundings here. This this is a good sounding right here for Connecticut when we're looking at this. So, and I pulled all these different soundings because as what's going to happen, right? This with this inverted trough, the cyclone is trying to intensify, right? This low pressure system is trying to intensify, but we're not stacked at 500. We're not stacked on the surface 500 and 700. We're not stacked at all. So it's very difficult for a system that's not stacked to just fully take off, right? And those dynamics get pulled closer in instead of being stretched out. So we're taking advantage of this storm system not stacking, stretching itself out. We're going to be throwing back fire hose of moisture in a sense off the Atlantic, and we'll see how long it lasts. I would bet against it lasting any longer than the HRR shows right here, but very, very promising. Very promising stuff from the models and observations this morning in a sense where I think this is going to be surprise. This is going to be a surprise for a lot of people. It's going to be a surprise. So we have um, a lot more to go with this system, right? This is I call it a two-part system in a sense where we have this first part here with the original, I guess, quote unquote, clipper, we could say. Even that will drop a widespread, 1 to 3, 2 to 5 inches. And then wherever the inverted trough sits up, that's where people could pick up an extra 2 to 4, 3 to 5, 4 to 8 inches. It's not out of question. This is going to be moderate to heavy snow. Right? Take a look at these soundings here. This is again another good sounding out of northeast, central Connecticut. Well, here right -20 at around 625 in the atmosphere, -20, and then -10 all the way down to just below 750 millibars. You'll notice -2 omega. Another very good sounding. Probably not thunder snow. No thunder snow likely. I wouldn't completely rule it out if something crazy were to happen. Probably we're not going to have the dynamics to see thunder snow in the atmosphere. Just not the cards for this kind of event. But I think people are going to be surprised. And for all the people that don't agree with my snow math, well, it's hard to disagree with something that hasn't happened yet. That's all I'll say. But I appreciate everyone that came through. Yeah, we have a start. Do we have any questions? Do you have any questions? Um, we, I didn't have questions. But we'll go back to watching some football afterwards and following observations. Is it snowing outside? I can't tell. It's a good sign that I haven't started snowing yet, though. It's a good sign I haven't started snowing yet. Um, A, it means we're cold, and B means hopefully we're slowing things down a little bit and reserving our energy, which is what we want. It's what we want. Amplify the system better. I guess we can switch one. Yeah, you can see different versions. All right, in this run, it's still there. It's a little bit different. Still going to be some half decent soundings. right? It's just a little bit less lift here on this run. Still saturated, still cold. So that's why it could maybe there's only an additional 1 to 3, 2 to 4 inches for people, and that's why the 5 to 9 split was put in place. So looks like looks like no more questions. So we'll leave it at that. People can rewatch this as well. Enjoy your Sunday. Enjoy the snow. If I'm wrong, deal with it. I'm gonna be wrong a lot more in life, so you can enjoy it for now, but I won't try to be wrong. Appreciate everyone that came in.